All right, all right, all right. Happy Monday. Welcome back to The Real Precious. Thank you guys so much for being here. Those who are watching over on Facebook, I never shout Facebook out. I was at one point and then I stopped. So I apologize, guys. Those who are watching on Facebook, thank you guys so much for tuning into Mixed Message Monday slash Men's Panel. Um, we are going to be getting into what we have been seeing all over social media. We've been hearing it on the radio. I've seen some news stations broadcasting about it. So we're definitely going to get into that. Before we do, though, I got to see how my guys on the panel are doing. How you guys doing this evening? Actual King Smith as well as Sean. How you guys doing?
What up? What up? What up? I am doing well. There's a two snooze fest of games that are on right now for Monday Night Football. If you ain't watching, you ain't missing much. Shout out to the chat. I see fellow free agents out there. French toast props, dude. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Sean. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking. All is well. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, good, good. I'm gonna get the lighting a little better, light it up a little in a second once I leave. But yeah, everything's going well. How's it? King, salute, precious. Well, as always, you're precious.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm sure others will come in. I think Hink's coming in. He has a Monday night show that he does, so he'll be here a little later. Of course, I'm going to drop the link. Just want to shout out some people in the chat. La Peep was here early. He put up the fire emojis. Thank you so much for the support. Crystal Light says, I'm here for it. Okay, girl, because we're going to get into it. Okay. Sarika, thank you so much for being here. She says, everyone, please hit the like button as you come in. Definitely hit the like button. Share this broadcast with somebody. Definitely subscribe to the channel. On Monday nights, we have the men's panel. And the men, we hear from the men. We get some understanding. We get the men's perspective. So, guys, definitely share this live stream. Ricky Webster, thank you so much. She says, hey, hey, hey. At Precious, Terica, many blessings, beloved queen. Good evening all around. SB, I see you in the building. Darrow, hello, hello, hello. It's been a while. I hope you are well as well. And Ricky says, yes, sir, we up in her. Okay. So I appreciate you guys for being here. So, y'all know why we here. Okay. Jeezy filed for divorce from Jeannie Mai, the real host, and he did it last Thursday. However, Jeannie done had these papers notarized since June. Okay. He done had these papers notarized since June. Before we get into the story, I do have some clips to go over some, topics that we're going to be discussing in regards to Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. But before we go forward, I want to get you guys' perspective on their relationship. Did you, I mean, of course, you probably knew that they were married, or did you? How did you feel about, knowing that they were married, and what did you think was going to happen in their marriage?
I knew who they were, and I am not surprised when I saw a couple of clips, as they're both public figures, right? Jeezy's a rapper. She's a well-known media personality, if I understand her background correctly. And the stuff that I would hear coming out of her mouth, I'm like, who wants to be married to that? Ain't no way that's going to last. And I hate to say I was right, but called it. I think there is some place publicly where I have talked about this where I'm like, that's not going to make it past 7 years.
Okay. All right. Wasn't gonna make it past the 7-year mark. 7-year itch. All right, Sean, how about you?
I mean, as long as they made it, because entertainment marriages are short lived, but entertainment hip hop marriages, there's no I guess there are no examples of it, but here we go. This is the start of it. A hip hop entertainment industry marriage. It was doomed from the start.
Yes. And to Sean's point, I am going to acknowledge, I think celebrity marriages play out differently for a lot of different reasons. But the reason why we talk about them is because nobody cares about your neighbor next door's marriage and how that ended or whatnot and things like that. But there's still elements and components to celebrity marriages that still mesh with the average day person's marriage. And it's worth talking about to try to see if we can figure out those differences and how we can,
Right.
you know, how we can
I,
work also.
well, King, the first thing to acknowledge with that type of relationship is the fact that you have an ego and pride that are inflated, that are getting together. That in itself is challenging.
Hmm.
And I say ego and pride because I separate it by gender. I say men have egos and women have pride, even though they're synonymous. But ego and pride together, inflated ego and pride, that's almost a disaster waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now you say ego and pride, and King, I do agree with you with what you were saying earlier because I mean they're celebrities, but at the end of the day, they're human beings. And so it's not like they have this supernatural, these supernatural feelings that we don't have or that we don't experience. But Sean, when you say ego and pride, are you just speaking in general terms, or are there situations where you saw Jeezy have ego stand in his way and Jeannie have pride stand in her way?
I'm speaking generally from the standpoint of a celebrity. A
Okay.
celebrity ego is inflated and pride is inflated naturally. And
Okay.
them combining them doesn't eliminate any of the extra problems. They almost kind of like uh, uh, highlight and put emphasis on the normal relationships problems.
Okay.
And that's why many celebrity relationships fail because they have an increased uh, amount of pressure on top of an enormous ego and or pride standing just naturally. It's rare that you find somebody who's in front of the camera that often without an inflated ego or without an inflated ego is what I'll call it for both of them right
Okay. So I'm pretty sure that you guys have seen this clip of Jeannie Mai when she was on the talk show, The Real, and she made this comment, and of course it's surfacing again because of what's going on with them. But it does have, a lot of bearing on their situation just because at that time she was with a white Caucasian man. I don't know what we gonna say on YouTube channel. I don't know. I don't know. She was with a Caucasian man. Jeffrey, I believe was his name or is his name, excuse me. And now she's with separated, about to be divorced from Jeezy. But this is what she had to say on The Real.
White keeps me mean and lean, guys. Yeah, I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. That's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
She lightweight offensive. I am
No,
going
I'm
to
not.
hush.
I'm saying I really do think black men are attractive. I do. That's my.
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey.
That's
You know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
Ain't nobody. How did you say it?
I'm just saying, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
Right, you like your main man to be white and your side piece to be dark.
That is not what I mean.
Jeannie, explain what you mean.
Okay,
what you meant.
What I meant is I used to date black men, and I think they're attractive. But what I decided to stick to because it just kept me happiest was my man Freddie, who happens to be white.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
So, what are you guys thinking about that statement? Just because of everything that's going on now. She was married at the time, and that was her stance. She said, "Hey, look, I like my white meat. It keeps me lean and mean." Now remember, she said it keeps me lean and mean. You guys have to really pay attention to the words that people say because she talked about having a temper, but we're going to talk about that a little later. But she says the white man keeps her lean and mean. and she want the dark meat on the side. What do y'all think about that?
Man,
Sean, please go
that
ahead.
was that was telling. A lot of it, you know. We can read into the stereotypes. We can read into a lot of different, I guess, assumptions that can come out of it. But the main thing is that she said, translation, I can do whatever I want. He keeps me happy. And that's really what it boils down to. She want to do what she want. He keeps me happy.
Mhm.
He makes me the happiest. Why? Because I can do whatever I want and he doesn't care. That's how I receive it.
Or he doesn't call me out on it.
I mean, the same, yeah, exactly, same difference.
Because he
You
could
know,
care, but at some point he gonna not care, and that's what happened.
I mean, possibly, yeah, but yeah, same. I'm using the same context. He doesn't care, meaning um, he's not going to address it.
Okay, King.
Oh man, what she said, I cringed when I heard it because she was like, I got my white meat to keep me lean and mean, but dark meat on the side. And it's the way
Girl, we
everybody
ain't at Popeyes.
and everybody else understood that was the way that she communicated was, I like to have my black man over here whenever I need to get an itch scratched or my back blown out, but publicly, I'm gonna have me a white man. Like, there is no way to interpret that that's different than what she said. Like, I tried to be like, all right, let me try to see if I could interpret it in a way that supports what she meant, maybe, but no, the way she said that was so cringe and so bad. And it doesn't surprise me to hear that young Jeezy, or Jay Jenkins is his government name, out for divorce on her. Do y'all know out there how insufferable you have to be for a man to be the one to file? Think about that. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but that right there was telling to me.
I agree. I agree. And in addition, you brought up some things that I'm trying to, miss. I'm trying not to really dive too deep into, but stereotypically, she feels more secure with a white man than with a black man. And that's unfortunate. She feels like a black man she can have fun with, but she's almost was ashamed to have him as a husband because again, well, not again, but because a lot of times women, her specifically is an example, uh, uh, marry people for status, marry people for security or what they think is going to be status or security. And unfortunately, that exists pretty significantly in the entertainment industry, but even more significantly in the entertainment industry amongst our uh, uh, our races, our minorities, where I guess that's the only place it could because white on white is normal.
Right, because, she's Vietnamese and obviously she don't want no Vietnamese men. I don't necessarily know how they are, but within watching videos about this thing, I've been watching a lot of videos. It seems as though the women actually walk all over the Vietnamese men. And it's almost the same with the Caucasian man where, he'll mope around, he'll walk around miserable, but he won't really, deal with the issue head on. And so for 10 years or 7 years, I forget how long she was married. I think 10. She was married to this
Yeah.
man. She didn't want to have any children, so that was a huge deal breaker for him. But he probably figured, well, shoot, you don't want to carry my name on. There's no reason for me to be with you. On top of you being disrespectful and having this hot temper. I want to play a video that she did And this is a reflection of her first husband. And this is what she had to say. And it's just crazy because, you're married for 7 to 10 years in your first marriage, and then you got a divorce, right? Divorce to me, and the way that I understand it, is the ripping of souls. That's how I understand divorce, on top of the financials and everything else. But it is the ripping of souls, especially if you find yourself truly in love with someone and then it's just not working out. Well, that was her first divorce. Now she's married again. She has the child that she at first didn't want, and now she does have the child. And now she's going through her second divorce. So I can't imagine the emotions and what she's going through right now. What's up, Sean, before we play this video?
Did she file for the first divorce, or did he?
I believe he did. I believe he filed for divorce on her on that one too. But y'all can fact check me. Anybody in
Yeah,
the chat, if y'all know the answer to that, definitely fact check me. But I think he divorced her the first time. But I'm not sure.
before you play the clip, I want to come back and just highlight something that you said. In her first marriage, where she was married for 10 years, it didn't work out because she publicly said that she didn't want kids. She divorced in like 2017. She got married to young Jeezy around COVID, like 2020 or 2021, somewhere around that time. It was fairly recent.
Right.
Had a kid with him, and the marriage didn't even make it 3 years. Make that make sense, y'all. Please play this clip. Because I can't make that make sense.
It's just sad.
Knowing what I know now about who I married, I wouldn't have married him. Oh. Oh, Jeannie. Yeah, no, I know. I don't mean to get that serious, but I'm just saying this out there because it's just crazy. You hear all the time that money can change people. Well, divorce can really change people. And it's just so weird because the one thing that he would always say back then is like, you really truly don't know a person until they don't get what they want. But I never thought he would be the one to prove that to me,
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Jeannie. So, yeah, it's just hard because
It's okay. Take your time.
honestly, you guys have heard me, you've seen him, and I've talked about him all the way. Like, I loved him all the way even past our divorce. I really did. But then when somebody shows you who they are, you just are like, did I?
All right, and that was the end of the video. I think she said, "Did I miss it?" Welcome to the panel, Hank. How are you this evening?
Hey.
He probably still
Hey.
whipping in the kitchen. He'll join us in a little bit. So what do you guys think about that video? She talks about if she knew what she knew about her previous husband, she wouldn't have married him. She says that, money may change people, but so does a divorce. She also goes on to say that she says that she wished she wasn't the person to, people when they don't get what they want, they'll act in a certain way. And she just wished she wasn't that person to make her previous husband act that way. And I'm guessing because of kids, he wanted kids. She didn't necessarily want kids. So he divorced her. I mean, most men, if 1 + 1 don't equal 2, they not really messing with it. So what do you guys think about that video in regards to now where she is now? Because she gonna be crying these tears again. And I don't know exactly what her verbiage gonna be this time, but I believe she's definitely gonna be crying these tears again because I think that this divorce was not something. Well, they had been separated for a while, but separation doesn't mean that it's leading to divorce. But
It
for
doesn't make
Jeezy, it was, yeah, that's it. So what do you guys think about that as far as the way she felt it for her previous husband? Do you think that she's getting stuck in certain mindsets? Like, what do you think? Somebody in the chat has said, 2 failed marriages, maybe it's her. It could be her. I don't know.
Oh man, what I feel could be her. It is her. Yeah, I might be jumping off the cliff, but that's all right because the truth is my parachute, and I feel like I will be saved because she definitely is the issue, and more importantly, what the issue is in her is what I'm curious to learn about because, quite frankly, I feel like a man in his true essence will be there to check a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, many women just don't like being checked. They feel I'm grown. Who are you? You're not my daddy, and all of that. And I wouldn't even blame it on a modern woman because that's been happening for years since before I was born. You know, the modern woman adds different elements that contribute to it, but some women just don't want to be checked. And it has probably a lot to do with absence of a father and things of that nature, men issues or whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, it doesn't negate the fact that there needs to be some order at times. And if a man is in his true essence, he'll provide that order, whether she likes it or not. And often they just don't like it. And hence, here we are.
Okay, so women don't like to be checked. I would agree with that. There's some women um that just don't want you to correct them. And I think that women do need correction. I think that we think we know it all, but we don't. Go ahead, King.
Her tears meant nothing. It doesn't take that hard of a cursory search to see who her first husband was and what he's doing right now. Now, social media is only a window into what people want you to see, but she said that she expressed regret over marrying her first husband, which lasted 10 years.
Mhm.
She was very clear in that clip on The View in which she said that she divorced or that they got divorced because she clearly didn't want to have kids. Yet you weren't married to Jeezy that long when you had his child. Like that doesn't make sense. When you look at her first husband and what he chooses to show on his social media, this dude is since I'm going to assume remarried because he has pictures with a family, him and like 3 kids, and he prominently features the his children's mom, which I'm going to assume is his wife, and his 3 kids throughout his Instagram, showing them doing family things and stuff like that. So I look at this man who looks like a family man who doesn't have any negative articles or things that I could find about him whatsoever, or anybody speaking bad on him whatsoever. And I'm trying to figure out why Jeannie Mai is saying out of her mouth that she regrets marrying her first husband. None of that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
None of it.
because I mean, if you want children, the desire for children, wanting children, that's something that you talk about early on. So I don't understand how we got to 10 years and um I don't know if she thought he was gonna change his mind or what. Did she
It,
think
it,
she was gonna bully him into having a child? I don't know.
it seems pretty easy to assume for me. What happened was she thought she could get her way. I don't want it. I don't want it. And when he called her on it and divorced her, all of a sudden she understood how serious people can take things and how the consequences that can come when you're not cooperative. Hence why she had a child so easily with Jeezy, because she didn't want to fall into the same thing. Oh, I want my way. I don't want this, that, and another. When she got a good man or a man or whatever you want to call him, uh, depending on his character. And she didn't want to lose this one because, quite frankly, she thought that he would never leave. That's what that second video kind of displayed. Oh, I thought he would never leave me, and he changed because after we got married, that he didn't get his way. No, he just basically said, oh, "Okay, I asked you for 10 years. You said no, 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 no." Or maybe, 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 I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, no, 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 no. And he finally said, oh, okay, well, this is your decision. Well, this is my decision. I'm out. I want to go get a family. And then she was devastated. Oh my God, he left me. I don't believe it. How could he leave me? Oh, he changed after he didn't get his way and da 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 da. Yeah. And then she got with Jeezy, and Jeezy said, I want to have a family. She contemplated it a lot differently because at this point, she's now saying, oh, you know what? Kids and men, they might really mean it. Let me give this man who's loving me after my shenanigans in my first marriage, let me give him what he might want because I might have screwed up heavily and I don't want to screw up again. But here we go. Here we go again, all alone.
Mr. Hank, are you in the building, Mr. Hank?
Yeah,
Calling Mr. Hank.
yeah, I'm here, but that bomb real bad, Sean. But that's okay, brother. You tried. You gave it that college effort. That's all that matters.
So Hank, what are your thoughts about this couple, Jeezy and Jeannie Mai? We played the clip about her wanting her dark meat on the side,
Mm-hmm.
and her white meat keeping her lean and mean. We also
Mm-hmm.
played a clip about her revealing how she felt about her previous husband, wishing that if she knew what she knew at that point in time, she would have never married him. How do you feel so far about this couple and what's going on with them?
Well, it sounds like she's just operating on a lot of fetishes to me.
Mm,
I mean, that's what it seemed like. And so the fact that she was able to publicly say this, knowing she's married at the time, is, man, she has no respect to her first husband at all. So I guess he just got tired of the disrespect. He said, "The hell with you, heifer, I'm out." And he had to do what he do to save some type of face. He felt like he wanted his man card back, and so that's what he had to do in order to get his card back. He had to file them papers.
mm,
But it's look, man. We've seen a lot of relationships come and go during that time with COVID and all that good stuff.
yeah,
So I'm not surprised that it didn't last long because they probably realized that I really don't want to be with you. I thought I did, but it's just not my thing. And you got a few screws loose, man. I need to get on up out of here before I do something to you and get myself in trouble and mess up the bag. So I think that's why Jesus said, "Yeah, let me go and get this escape plan going and hit that hatch and get my emergency exit on up out of here."
yeah.
Hey, hey. Oh, buddy was like, I'm gone.
Yeah. Um, thanks, Hank. Arpane, welcome to the panel. How are you this evening?
Thanks for having me up. Hey, fellas, how y'all guys doing?
What's
All right,
up,
so
okay?
is it my turn to weigh in?
Feeling better?
Nah, man, I don't know what the hell's matter with me, man. I'm feeling okay, but my nose is still kind of stuffed up a little bit.
Yeah, we can
I
hear.
had that a couple weeks ago. It was horrible. Get
I can't
better.
shake it.
I had
That's
a
fine.
cough that was I feel like I just got rid of my cough fully.
Yeah, so I'm suffering through it. It's cool, but anyway, listen. I think you guys. Here's my take on it. Right, her first husband was a simp, and he didn't have any kind of standards that he stuck by. I'm pretty sure he knew she didn't want to have no kids, and he married her anyway. I think that's his first mistake. Yeah, he was going to try to talk into having a baby at some point. He waited 10 years, kind of like the Megan Good situation with her husband. He wanted kids, she didn't. So it was after 10 years, it was just time for him to leave. So that makes sense to me. And she was in a different space. She was like 30 something. At 40 something, when Jeezy came in, I could see why she wanted to have a kid because now she could actually physically see that door closing, feel it, and everything else. So she said, well, I'm right on my neck. I got 2 eggs left. I'm going to give him one, and that's what she did. Now,
That's sweet.
she might be a dragon lady, and her personality is probably why I think the difference between him and the first husband is different. So I can see the first husband leaving. He wanted a family. That's why he went, found another woman, and he
Mhm.
started popping out kids. That makes sense to me. you know, but she probably was a dragon lady with him, but that's probably not why he left her. But Jeezy wasn't having it. Not with all the sisters and everybody else, man, ready to give him a little piece. Why he's putting up with that shit? And he said, no, you know what? You know what? I tasted it, and this was a COVID relationship. It was too much. And he's leaving. And they got a baby, unfortunate for the kid. Now they bi-coastal too. He's in New York and
She's in
she's in
Cali.
California. You know, that's not good for the kid, you know. So now she's just you know, so we'll see. But I don't want to be too hard on the chick. Yeah, it might be her, but she's just not compatible for marriage, you know?
Yeah, I came across another clip where she is being interviewed. Um, I think this interviewer, her name is like Shambooty or something like that. I think she
Yeah.
talks about sex a
I
lot.
know she would.
But she interviewed Jeannie Mai, and I mean, y'all watch and give your opinion because I just wanted to slap her through the screen, but y'all give y'all opinion because it just seems like you can't even have a simple conversation with her.
To moms out there too, I don't love when moms make you feel like they feel bad for you if you don't see it.
So we're gonna role play and just say, Jeannie, the last time that I saw you, you didn't want to have kids.
Right.
And now you've evolved into a woman who knows it's her time to share a life and to give life.
You really dug in there with that evolve. You really, ooh, I didn't like that one. I'm trying to process it because I'm forgetting you were role playing, but I was like, what you mean by evolve? Like evolving to me just means growing into understanding and accepting myself more. And that could also mean not choosing to have children. But that right there hit so low below the belt because you almost made me feel like I was stuck in a place that I would never recognize was lower than other women out there that because now I changed my mind, I've caught up. And that is insulting. The woman who didn't want to have a kid, I actually can see her right here.
All right. So what did y'all think about that? Because Shan Boudreaux wanted to role play with Jeannie Mai, and the word evolve, which is supposed to have a, positive connotation anyway. She took that offensively. Like she took it in a way where she said that, the interviewer made her feel some type of way. And I mean, yes, words may hurt us, but I think that words really only hurt when you haven't healed. If you've healed, then something may take you back to the moment, but it's not gonna keep you there. It's not gonna be who you are. It's not gonna be who you refer yourself as. And in that instance, the role to me, it was like, okay, well, role play, but you got hooked on the word evolve.
I think she strengthened my argument. She felt that when she was in her 30s, she was in the right place, for her then, and she didn't want any kids.
Mhm.
But she went in her 40s, now she's just thinking she's in the right place and she just has a different mindset. But I believe, so the word evolve means that somehow in her 30s, she wasn't doing the right thing. And she didn't like that. And that's probably just part of her personality. But we got a whole generation of women going to go through the same thing. How many women do we have to see on these spaces who are now in their 40s thinking of all the good men they left behind in their 30s and 20s, and they don't have any children? Now they've saved their eggs and they're doing all this stuff. They probably don't like the word evolve either. Lolo Jones crying and shit. She had a chance to have men, and she didn't want them. And so now she's 40 crying on stuff. I just think that, I can see an arrogant woman or arrogant person, she just happens to be a woman, thinking that the word evolve means she was less than when she had a different mindset. Megan Good, probably same thing. So that's just my take on it. And, I don't have to be right, but that's just my take,
Mhm.
It wasn't implied. I mean, it wasn't hidden. It was implied. Yeah, you were less than. And again, she just didn't want to receive it.
According to who, brother? According to who?
According to the interviewer, she was less. That was what they were saying. You evolved. You grew. So you grew into where you are now, and being able to change your mind and etc. And that's just what it is. She didn't like that because she felt she didn't need no growing. She felt I am already where I need to be and I'm successful. And, the modern woman, and I'll take it away from the modern. The successful person's mentality, like I said originally, they being two celebrities inflates their ego that much more, which displays that arrogance that much more significantly. And really, she's just, that's another display of her feeling herself, her feeling like she is the God's gift to this world. And somebody questioned it, and she felt inadequate about the question.
Mm. King.
Well, look, it just makes it just continue to put her in a bad light. She's a selfish woman. She seems like to me. She's just real selfish, and she's acting as an individual. It's nothing wrong with that if you were single. You're not married without a kid, but as a person who's in a whole marriage, your mindset's got to change. You got to grow up and mature a little bit, and I don't think she's done that yet. I think she has a lot of growing to do. Now you're going through your second divorce. I don't know what it's going to take. You would think the first divorce would have instantly made her grow up, or after having a child would have made her instantly grow up. Having an opportunity in marriage again would have instantly made her grow up, and instead, she's still operating like she's a 20-year-old, just enjoying life, ready to hit the club now and have a good time and do her thing. So now she's suffering. I think she's suffering, and it's killing her softly.
I think that all she has to do is take a look at Madonna and see what her life gonna look like in about 20 years.
I don't think it's gonna look as good as Madonna. Madonna had a lot more success than her.
Jeannie Mai. Thank you guys so much for joining. I see that other people have joined the stream, attached to those who are on the stream. So I appreciate you guys for stopping through. Tonight's sponsor is jecreativehosting.com. You guys need a website. You need someone to host it. Go over there. There is a code of HCM22 for your new website to be hosted. So if you guys want, definitely go over there. They'll definitely do you good. My website is hosted by them, www.therealprecious.com. So check that out if you get an opportunity. I wanted to get into some of these comments. I saw a few good ones. Tarika said, I feel like she wanted a baby by a black man. What do you guys think about that? Because I partially agree. She talked about the looks of a black man, of that dark meat, and how she really liked the looks of it. And for someone who didn't want a child to now you're having a child, you didn't have the child with the Caucasian man, but now you done had it with Jeezy, who was African American. So do you guys feel like she just wanted a baby by a black man?
I think she wanted a baby by a black dude and somebody of status. And I believe the white was status initially, didn't work out. Jeezy was a black dude with status. She's like, oh, I got I got dark meat and white meat. I could rock with this. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's unfortunate for the child that if she had that mentality that I just described, but it just leaks and displays that all throughout what she's doing, all throughout the clips that you're playing, is that one is selfish. She wants what she likes. She wants what she wants, and she likes what she doesn't respect. And what she respects is status. And it's a smorgasbord of uncertainties and misfortune.
Anybody else feel like she just wanted a baby by a black man?
Man, again, she spoke about her fetishes that she has in that one interview. I just think she's so enamored by what she used to date. I guess she was talking about when she was in high school. Or in college? Is that what she's saying? Back in college, she used to date black guys or whatever. I don't know, man. So
I'm assuming at some point, yeah.
Why not have a baby by a black man since you enamored the fetish by him so much, and now you have a biracial baby?
Well, you know, she did say that what she said was, oh, I thought you would finish. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I got you, Payne. Who's
But
gonna have? She's gonna have the best of both worlds, I guess. Her Asian baby as well as her black baby. I mean,
Lady.
so I don't know. Look, this is just she sounds crazy, man. She sounds real crazy. Look, she's gonna be forever a booty call. That's all she's gonna be. And I expect she giving out Halle Berry vibes. That's what she's giving out, man. So
there you go. You ready? So here's my take on it. She did say that she liked black men on the side and she liked white guys to be serious with, right? A lot of Asian women like white men. That's their number one choice, even over their old men. So she's Asian. So I just think that Jeezy, he might be black, but he represented something, whether he was black or not. He had not just a swag, he was a successful man. I think she actually liked him. I think she actually liked him. And like I said, I think she was in a space at 40 years old where she could physically see her biology change from that young woman with the white man. I just think it was as simple as that. Now, she might not be aware, but there's a lot of women not self-aware of what the hell they're talking about. Well, women are just chaotic all over the place. No disrespect, Precious. What I'm just saying is that, so I think Jeezy was at the right place at the right time. She looked at him as more than just a plaything because she married him, right? And you know what? It was just natural for her to have a baby because he already had kids. But I just think she was in the right space. And the thing is, the fact that she took umbrage with Shan Booty, who's probably just as arrogant as she is, by the way, that she used the word evolve. It's just a self-awareness thing because there's nothing that you should be upset about. Because if you don't evolve in life like we all do as humans, then she got a couple of things loose up here. What's wrong with the word evolve? That means you
Right.
get educated and everything else. So I just think she's just one of those chicks who's just as successful as she is. She's kind of an idiot, and that's probably it. So, but I don't have it. But I don't see anything strange about her. I mean, there's a lot of women who are successful like that. And they think when I think about Ebony K. Williams, as successful as she is, she's still an idiot. Based on how she thinks. And so, and it's not just against women. There's a lot of idiot men out there, but I'm just saying that I'm not attacking women. I'm just looking at these two specific women, and that's it.
All righty. I'm sorry. Someone was about to talk. Was someone about to say something? No? Okay. So Crystal says, why share your private thoughts on a public platform? It's tacky to invite the world into your personal business. It gives room for public criticism on a private matter. I don't know. I think for them, you don't have to share your, most private thoughts. I don't think, although people do it every day, I feel like, but I think it's a little bit, it's almost inevitable for them, to not be in the public eye and to acquire criticism from that. Somebody see you, they don't have to say 2 words to you, they don't like you. So, I just think that it's just unavoidable for them. They're both public figures and, whether now it's said to be that this was leaked. Um, he has the book out right now, but somebody gonna know something about them, and we're gonna know it too, just because they're public figures. So that's just how it goes. NYG says no one will marry her again. So what do you guys think? She has 2 failed marriages, and I think you guys spoke on it a little bit. Someone said that she's just gonna be a booty call. I think that was Pink. But do I never want to put things as, definite line in the sand. It ain't never going to happen for her again. But realistically, idealistically, you know, what do you guys think? Will she ever get married again? Is somebody just gonna settle for her just because?
I think that she's gonna have another failed marriage and then maybe a fourth one somewhere down the line. I think that she can temporarily put a representative out there to attract somebody that fits her economical, and status background enough to get somebody to go, you know what? I can see a life with her. And then they're going to get in that life and then they're going to realize that they made a huge mistake. So I think, yes, she is going to find another sucker. It's not going to last. The fourth one might, but she has at least two more. Two more.
Two more?
Easy.
Dos más.
Wow.
Okay.
I can't really dispute that. My immediate answer was yes, she's gonna find somebody else. Of course, she's gonna find somebody else because, like her, who loves status, there are a lot of other people who love status. Most people who are, in her industry and who would know about her, be attracted to her, would probably fairly say that her status is part of that attraction. So, will she get someone else? Absolutely. I don't see no reason why. The question is, will she mature? Which what King was saying, he doubts it, at least for another marriage or two. And I pray that and hope that she does mature at her age and that she's learning from these lessons that she's getting through life by lifing. So I hope that she does mature, and I hope that whoever is the next person up, that he's mature enough to handle her healing that's going to be necessary, because she's going to get in something without healing. That I anticipate. That's why, to King's point, I could definitely see it, because she ain't going to get healed. Because according to that second video you just said, she sometimes don't feel she needs things that are very obvious to others. She doesn't need to what was it? Elevate. What was the word that they use?
Evolve.
Evolve. Yeah, she doesn't need to evolve. So we'll see. But absolutely, she's gonna get another man. Absolutely, that's not hard for a celebrity to get. We just use Halle Berry as an example. Halle Berry could get men all day long, get men to even want to marry her. But there's something within her that is really challenging the men to stay with her.
Okay. Quincy said, I do appreciate the swiftness of his action. And yeah, that's what makes him different than her first husband, right? Because her first husband stayed in it for 10 years, and we don't advocate for divorce, but at the same time, I think that, I think the percentages of men being unhappy may be equal to, if not more than women being unhappy. They'll stay longer than a woman would if she was unhappy. And that's just, per everything that we see, this person's getting divorced, that person, people women primarily would rather walk away than a man would. And so, and Quincy saying, I do appreciate the swiftness of his action. It's like, Jeezy probably like, can I see myself in this for another 2 years? Can I see myself in this for another 3 or 4 years? So I mean,
somebody made a point earlier that really resonates why it was so swift. Because Jeezy comes from the streets and he has graduated from that, but that doesn't leave you. So he knew that it was more detrimental to stay there and deal with the nonsense, because he knew what he would do. And he chose to leave instead of doing what he knows he's capable of doing, when actions that probably was displayed, temper tantrums or whatever you want to call it, start to play out. And he's like, yo, I really ain't playing with that. And he told her that, probably, I'm sure. She didn't believe him. So instead of doing what he would resort to in his past life, he did what he wisely was able to do in his current life, which is cut it out. Same type of mentality, just a different action. So yeah, I think that was more of his motivation. And I can't deal with this because I'm a wind up hurting.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just go back to the first thing. I think she could certainly find another man, but she's not going to find a man that she admires to marry her. I mean, men take inventory of the kind of women, what kind of things they did in their past relationships. So I can't see a man who values and has a certain mindset marrying her, knowing that she doesn't believe in the word evolve, right? I mean, I don't
Mm.
want to fix nobody like that, Why would he do that? Now, somebody put in the chat that, she'll find some kind of simp to marry, like a Nicki Minaj or somebody who needs her, so
Ooh.
she can do what she wants to do and have a man around, But I'm not so sure how fast she'll want to do that, because she certainly won't respect a guy like that. And so I don't think she would want that either. I don't think she understands that if you want to be in a real meaningful relationship, you must evolve. It's an absolute mandate,
Mhm.
And so her head is she's broken in her arrogance and everything else like that, and that's the biggest thing. Now her first husband and Jeezy, they can't compare the two. Her first husband should have never married her in the first place when he knew he wanted kids, and I'm really pretty sure she told him she didn't want to, right? Have kids. And so, a lot of men do that. We used to just tell that black men, but white men do the same thing. You find a woman, you fall in love, and all that romantic crap, and that's not how women look at marriage. They think they do, but they're more practical about it. What are you doing for me? And she said she didn't want to have no kids. And he ignored it. He got what he deserved. But only in his favor, he had time. He had time. 10 years is not a big deal for a man, where he could be 40 and still have children. That's what happened for him. So anyway, so Jeezy's a whole different, like I said, the street thing and all that kind of stuff. I think she actually admired him. And she probably still loves him. She even put out some sweet missive just before the divorce decree came out. She said something real good about him. So
Yeah, I think she was helping him promote his book,
yeah.
um, in which, that looks good to the public. It's, y'all are I mean, he wasn't in the video. The book with the picture of him was, in the video. Um, but I don't know. I wonder if she's entitled to some of his book money.
Oh, it's so funny that you said that. Yeah, everything that he made during them being married is marital property.
Mhm.
Especially if his prenup doesn't hold out. Yeah,
Right.
because he has a prenup, but they signed it the day
The day
before they
before.
got married.
Yeah.
So that could get thrown out. The lead attorney has done a whole, you know how he gets on that kind of stuff. He did a whole thing on that. So
Mhm.
so he might be in big trouble in terms of a judge throwing out that prenup if it's under duress,
Mhm.
because it'll be considered that way because she signed it the day before they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder what it says.
yeah. So do
Because
I.
he referred to the prenup, I
Plenty of
believe
time.
3 times
Yeah.
in, the filing of his, divorce. It's pretty much like if the da 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 da, see the prenup. Da 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 da, see the
See
prenup.
the prenup.
Refer back to the prenup. However, like you said, the prenup was signed a day before they got married. So,
Yeah.
she really it seems as though she really did adore Jeezy. It didn't seem like it was fake. It didn't seem like it seemed genuine. However, if you are having temper issues, I always say, and I always will say, and I will continue to say, that we need to watch our mouths. That's the first thing that we have to get under control. And so no matter what relationship you're in, whether it be parental, romantic, business wise, because even on the real, you could see her blow up sometimes in the points that she was making. No matter what relationship you're in, if you can't get your mouth under control, you've already destroyed, your position in the relationship itself, and anything that's going to further, come out of that situation for you. And it just seems as though that she definitely has an issue with this. I have a clip of her actually talking about this, and we're gonna get into that because again, if you can't watch your mouth, I know that a lot of women have an issue with men saying be submissive, and they don't want us. They get mad when men say, "Well, I don't know, you talk too much," or learn how to be quiet. Learn how to be quiet. Well, you've heard that over social media, YouTube, whatever videos, learning how to, and a lot of women take offense to that. Like, what do you mean be quiet? What do you mean I need to learn how to be quiet? What do you mean I need to stay in my place? Well, part of staying in your place is learning how to stay in frame. And if things can get you out of frame and things can put you in a place where you're shooting daggers or you're shooting at the hip, then it's dangerous. It puts you in a dangerous position because you gonna go ahead and shoot at the hip and shoot the wrong person, or you might shoot yourself in the foot. So I'm gonna play this clip of her actually explaining her anger issues and how Jeezy wasn't going for it. Jeezy wasn't going for her attitude and her
I think in my
temper.
family, I've seen it. My grandmother.
And please listen closely because in the beginning, she talks about the history of the temper, which means this is generational.
Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it. My grandmother. I'm sorry. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me. Right. But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself,
So you had it.
So I had it, but nobody
nobody
ever called me out on it. Also in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy, and here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like who? That's not flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? But I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person, from friends, family, fans, they'll never see it. But to the person who loves us deep enough, you can press that button and boom, the dragon comes out. And we both have it. So we had to work on that. But he never told me to fix my temper. I just saw it and I thought, unless I want to stay in this place where I lose this person I love and I stay in my comfort zone of doing what I want to do and function the way I have for the last 40 years when nobody else had to stop me.
Which obviously has done quite well for you.
Right, I could have. But this was something greater that I wanted, and also a great challenge to myself to say, what if, now that I know it exists and the dragon's there, what if I got rid of that? How do I kill that dragon or store it in its place so that it never creates havoc in my life? And that took work. So for me, I think I don't want somebody who doesn't change. I want you to change and grow. If it means growing into an even better version of what I fell in love with.
All right. So
Hey, I don't have to say anything else because I said everything she just said. In other words, prior to her saying it, didn't even see that clip. I promise you. But she said everything. The fact that she just want things her way. The fact that she's a celebrity. The fact that she just man. There you have it.
I got nothing else to add because our pain covered it. I had never seen that clip either, yet we already hit that. So I'm hitting the mute button on this.
Anybody else got anything? Grooming and Reviews, thanks so much for joining. How are you?
How about yourself?
Hey,
Good.
of course,
Anybody else got anything on the
yeah, I do. First, she started out wrong by talking about I found myself an equal. You know, every time she says, when I heard that, I saw that clip before. Jeezy doesn't look at her as his equal. He looked at her as his wife. Like I wish my wife would call me a partner. You know what I'm saying? I'm your husband. I ain't no damn partner. We ain't in a business arrangement. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we partner on certain things, but I'm not your partner. I'm your husband. And
Right.
so she misrep. So she's still thinking from her vantage point. Everything she said, even if the evolve, she kind of even put it on him growing, not herself, right? Because at one point she didn't want to use the word evolve, but everything she's talking about was growing and all that. It's all evolve. That's all evolution. So she's just talking in circles because she's still not self-aware of what she's saying. And I'm
Mhm.
just saying, you know, poor baby, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, so she just needed. So she's so enamored with herself. I heard her before talking about her father was like a simp because her mother just bossed him around. Probably got it from, you know, because Asian women, I hear are like that. A lot of them
Mhm.
are, you know. So, hey, man,
Re
you know, it is what it is, man. But you know what? I ain't hating on that. A lot of people, I don't see, you know, some people are like that. And if you want to be in a relationship, like she said, she knows she has to curb it, but she still hasn't. So what we haven't heard is the more blow ups between her and Jeezy after the pandemic when they didn't have to be up under each other. You know, I just think that, you know, the one thing they share is the baby, you know, and I think that's also satisfies her biological need that was getting ready to slip away because Jeezy already had kids, you know. So anyway, so let me just leave it there.
Man, I forgot about that portion of also what I said that she just described. Jeezy wasn't having it, and he basically was flipping out on her. The dragon that she described came out of both of them, but his dragon is a lot deeper than hers, and she realized that, and basically calmed down. But at the same time, she ain't get rid of her dragon. She still let it come out, and he like, yo, you keep this up. I done told you already. I done told you.
Well, the problem is she's been doing this ever since she was born, probably.
Mhm.
She's in her 40s. Yeah, yeah. She's been doing this. Ain't nobody checked her.
Mhm.
Like she said, nobody even addressed her. Her parents probably did because it was common thing around the house. She's seen her grandmother do it, her mother do it, her aunts and probably her sisters if she have any sisters that
In
has
2 miles, take the
probably
U.S.
seen she probably seen all of that go down. So with that being said, it's in her bloodline,
Yes,
and so
that's
it's
what I
gonna
was
be
gonna
hard for
say.
her to change. And now somebody just now calling out on it, uh,
Yeah.
38, 40 years later, yeah, she's not going to adjust. She's going to
It
keep doing it because it worked for her. She was able to get two husbands out of it. Somebody else going to put up with it. Somebody like an R. Payne, he accept that
ooh,
bullshit.
ooh, ooh, shots fired, shots fired.
Well,
Um,
she does sound more like a spoiled brat, if you ask me.
Well, last week we were speaking about people, and yeah, I challenged me to talk about the men, and I said men are spoiled brats. But the reason why I always bring it up is because women are too, and she's just a spoiled brat. When you can't get when you're selfish, 9 times out of 10, you're a spoiled brat.
I was gonna say, Scott, I don't know, she sounds just like the black women that are talked about in these spaces. But what I was gonna say is she started it off and said, um, "My grandfather, my grandmother, my mother, my aunt." That is a long lineage of attitude, anger, um, um, being, combative. And those are things that black men, I mean, I don't think any man likes it. Let's put it that way. I don't think any man wants to deal with a woman who is combative. He doesn't want to deal with a woman who has attitude problems. He doesn't want to deal with a woman who doesn't know how to check herself. while women do need to be checked at times, there are more times than not than a man is relying on her to check herself. And so when a man can see that a woman can, hold off or can control her emotions, he's more, enlightened to be able to teach her, be able to guide her, be able to lead her and step into that leadership role because it's like, okay, I know I'm not going to get a whole bunch of pushback. She's going to be a woman. I know the nature of a woman, but at least I don't have a woman that's going to combat me at everything that I say or get tripped over words like evolve. When you can't have a simple conversation with a woman and everything is a battle or everything is an argument or everything is a, yeah, but you did this too. And what about no man? I don't think any man wants to deal with that, but especially not a black man. And so when she named the generations that this was in and then said, well, Jeezy never checked me on it. It's like, why is it Jeezy's responsibility to check you on something that you've been dealing with before you were even born? This was in your blood before you were even thought of. And so what I think a lot of times that happens with just humans in general, you get caught up and again, I always throw this in here because I was adopted in foster care. I see things so differently just because of the different dynamics I was in. But when you're in a family, when you're in your biological family and you have nothing else to look at and look out from and don't have other perspectives on life, it teaches you to be comfortable. It teaches you to not think outside of who you are and where you came from because that's what you know. And so when those things like anger and tempers are in your bloodline and you say nobody checked it, that means there along with anger came entitlement. Along with, having tempers came, I can do what I want to do because everybody else is doing that and nobody's checking them or whoever were married to these people, if they were married, are not, saying it needs to stop now. Like this is where it stops. And I think that us as humans, especially humans who were born into their biological families. And I'm not telling people to desert their families or, what I am telling you is to question the way that things have been going. Because at some point it's gonna fall on you if nobody redirects the ship. If nobody says, I need to separate myself from this, I need to be taught differently because I see grandmama got it. I see granddaddy like this. I see aunt so and so is like this. And I just may be like this too. And so we as people need to realize that everything that's taught to us is probably not the right thing. Some things are not taught, they're caught. And in this case, the temper, the anger, this is something that was caught from generations to generations to generations. But what someone didn't do was catch it and cut it off. You got to cut it off because you're going to continue to run into situations where her mom lived with them, right? So her mom lived in the home with them. And it was told that in the Vietnamese culture that the children take care of the parents. Well, one may ask, where's her mother's husband? Because taking care of your parents is something that you probably wouldn't do unless they were old, disabled. You didn't want to put them in a old folks home. You're taking care of them in that manner. It seems as though her mom came to help them take care of their daughter. And she probably, if she has a temper, if she has an anger issue, she probably inserted herself in matters that she shouldn't have been inserting herself in. So not only do you have to deal with your wife who has this anger issue, you now have to deal with the generation that came before your wife. It's like a double down. It's a double down on the play. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Jesus is probably like, look, 2 years and I'm out. 2 years and I did my time. I'm out. And I'm not, I hate to joke about it and make light about it because I divorce again is the ripping of souls, right? Jeezy, this was his first marriage, right? It's not his first child, but definitely his first marriage. This is her second marriage. So Jeezy was married for 2 years, had a baby, and then did. It's like, oh, what was your experience like in the married life? What life? I didn't even have a life. I barely had a summer, being married. It's just like, now this is the story that you have to tell your daughter, and she's getting on a plane going from Georgia to Cali or New York or wherever everyone is situated, and she's running off the plane looking back at her daddy but looking forward at her mom, and it's like she's going to have this picture of her father of not really having those moments with her mom together. And, I hope that they're able to co-parent well because Monaco is so young. I hope that they can put this, in a separate entity while they try to co-parent. Don't know if that's going to be, feasible or not, because you saw how she was talking about the first husband, how she wished she never did this and she just wished she never, when people don't get what they want. Well, in this case, Jeezy really didn't get what you were bargaining. He really didn't get this woman who while you may have adored him, the biggest thing for a man is respect. It's just the biggest thing for a man. You have to respect him, and if that takes checking yourself or saying, "You know what? I need to go see my therapist weekly." Because, and look, I see him at the beginning of the month and I may have a couple of slip ups. Maybe you need to see them weekly. Maybe you need to have them on a text, speed dial, something. Because if you truly want to keep this relationship, then you would cut at the root what the disease is. And obviously the disease is her mouth. The disease is the temper. And no matter how many men you try to get with, no matter how many men you marry, date, whatever the case may be, if you don't clear up your mouth, it's gonna kill everything.
If I can jump in really fast.
Go ahead.
I've been on both sides of that. My father had the worst temper in the world, to the point that I realized growing up, like, oh shit, I have his temper. Like, even little things will make me
north exit towards Stroudsburg.
get all pissy about. Like, people think stuff that shouldn't bother you, it bothers you. Like, I didn't realize where my temper is coming from, and I realized one day my parents are arguing. Like, wait a minute, I got my father's temper. That's not good. So I fixed myself on that, of course. But it takes a lot of work to get out of that trend. A lot of work. And I've been on the other side of a woman had a temper on her. And I couldn't even talk to her half times. She'll freak out every little thing. So it's a cycle. You need to break your own cycle. End of story.
Okay.
I definitely agree.
Okay.
I do want to ask you though, Grooming Reviews, for those who are watching. So you realize that you had your father's temper. What did you do to break out of that cycle?
I went and saw a therapist, to be honest with you. I started seeing a therapist, and I realized that helped me control my temper. The other thing, and I know this sounds very cliche, what I'm about to say, is martial arts. Believe it or not, I was able to have an outlet of my anger. Except me just having a conversation with my girlfriend or a loved one, and they just snapping on a flip of a switch. I realized it calmed down. And I know King is going to hate me for saying this, is praying. Every time I have a moment I'm about to lose my temper, I literally just close my eyes and have a little pray, and that helps me. Little things. I realize what I need to do to control that. Do I have my moments still? Absolutely. I'm not perfect. Do I have episodes sometimes? Yes. But after I realize, okay, I lost my temper, I write it down, and I figure out what triggered me so it doesn't happen again. I know it's a weird process I have, but it works for me.
It's not weird. Why would you say it's weird?
I am weird. I can ask King. King, how weird am I?
What's weird about that?
Everybody's weird. It's all good. And also, just to clarify, I encourage people who have spirituality about them to pray if they need to, man. I will never shit on that with anybody. I'm like, whoa, let me make that clear. That is not
I
me.
know. I'm just busting on you, dude.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people watching, man, and I don't want
Yeah.
to think that, I ain't out here telling people that they shouldn't pray. It's not for me, but I don't discourage anybody. I say if that's what you have to do it. I'll encourage you to do it.
Yeah. And a lot of things, like small things you can do to actually help the situation, like walk away when you're getting to that point. Walk away. And I'm the worst one to walk away. When I'm in an argument, I want to finish the argument. I want to finish the conversation. Not because I'm going to win or lose. No, I want to finish it. But I realize as I'm getting older, grayer, and fatter, it's walking away is not a bad thing. Calm down, take a deep breath, process the situation, and come back and talk. Because when you're screaming and yelling, you're not going to find anything. My temper got so bad at one point, I was literally putting holes in my wall. That's how bad I got. Now, I'm looking back and I'm laughing at myself. I don't even raise my voice anymore. I'm at 360. People don't even recognize me who knew me for years.
Well, kudos to you for turning that around because, like I said, we
Thank
have
you.
to figure out what the stronghold is in our families. We have to figure out what they are because a lot of people want to know why relationships and things like that fail. And I honestly think that they fail because people aren't necessarily honest about what they're suffering with. And sometimes it has nothing to even do with the person that they're in a relationship with, but because they didn't get those things cleared up, told the truth about it, been hot, honest, open, and transparent about it, now someone else is tagging along and now you don't know what to do with them because you don't know what to do with you. It's like you don't know what to do with
that's
them because
part
you
of
don't
it.
know what to do with you.
Yeah. One, I would say is communication.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know how to communicate with themselves. And when I say communicate with themselves, I'm like, I mean, be honest, which means that sometimes in order to communicate with yourself, you do have to go see a therapist. You do have to have a trusted friend that you tell the truth to, that you're accountable, to the truth to. That's self-talk as well, because your friend could be like, yo, just like, with King, you're like, I know King is gonna hate this, but if you guys are friends, you should already know his stance, but know that he doesn't mean any harm against those who, do what they do. So that means you're accepting him as who he is, but not necessarily putting him down for what he doesn't do because he just doesn't do those things. And I think it's the same way in relationships. It's like, are you going to accept them or are you going to put them down because they're not doing what you would naturally do or what you think is acceptable? I think that a lot of times there are just things that we have to fix within ourselves before we go trying to point the finger. My mom always told me when you point a finger at somebody else, you have four fingers pointed back at you. And we have to really, fix our own things. This thing with Jeannie Mai is like, your grandfather had a temper. Everybody had a temper, and you just thought that this wasn't going to affect you, and this is what's in your bloodline. We don't just get the color of our eyes and our skin complexion and things like that from our parents. We get, you know, how they emotionally deal with things. We those things trickle down to us more than we think. And so we just have to do a little bit of work to saying, you know what? I realize this is going on in my family. And before I join anyone with me, let me deal with it. Let me at least address it. Let me be honest about it and see what I can do on my end. Because if I start working on it now, I'm not going to make it somebody else's responsibility to, completely heal me of what they didn't even cause. They had no part of it.
I totally agree on that because eventually, you have to fix yourself to be a better man, a better husband, somebody. or even a better son to your mother, or just be a better person in general. It doesn't matter how you cut the apple.
Now, the man Williams says leaving your wife because she has an attitude problem is not the answer. What do you guys think about that? Because he did say in the filing of his divorce papers that they're not getting divorced because of infidelity. He made that known in there, but he also said that it's not reconcilable and they've been separated, bona fide state of separation. And so he's saying leaving your wife because she has an attitude is not the answer. Arpane, I see you want to go.
Yeah, I do, because we're assuming that it's her attitude that broke them up. Now, we got to remember, they had a long distance relationship, though. I think she's based out of California with her job and everything else, I believe. And when he's in Georgia, Atlanta, or something like that. And so they had to, they had to do a lot of logistics to be together, right? I mean, he might have asked her to move over where he's at, and she didn't want to do it. It could have been other things that made, and that's definitely an irreconcilable difference if you can't decide on where to live together as a family and grow up and have, now that you have a kid, proximity becomes an issue. It becomes a bigger issue, especially if you want to have your kid with you and not have these long periods where you can't be together. So we're assuming it was her attitude. But he might have just been saying, listen, okay, you're my wife. I need you closer. Maybe we find some place where we can go halfway or something like that. So we don't really know all the details. And one of the things I was thinking is that since they made their relationship kind of public, it'd probably be nice if they just offer up what the real irreconcilable differences are, even though it's none of our business. But people are going to keep trying to poke the bear until they try to find out. And if it's something as, hey, we just couldn't reconcile, because I don't disagree with what either man said, because he knew her attitude going in, just like the guy knew she didn't want to have a baby, right? And those things just don't go away. So we don't really know that she is the one who sabotaged or broke the family because of her attitude. It might have been something that he needed from her that she just wasn't willing to give, and maybe vice versa. Who knows? Right. So that's a mystery. So I just don't want to beat her up over that, even though it might be more likely, since he filed for divorce, that he didn't get what he wanted out of the relationship. And so I don't want to really point fingers at either one of them. I just say it just didn't work out. Maybe they hoped, it just didn't.
Why when it comes to women, we don't want to point a finger so often? She literally said, I had a dragon that came out and it triggered his dragon.
Yeah, but that was before they got married.
Yeah, he could be saving himself from going to jail.
Yeah, she said that. She said they went and she had to work on it. That's what she said.
Yeah, but that was
triggered
before they
his
got
dragon.
married.
I didn't hear her say before she got married. I'm not saying that interview might have been before, but she said, I triggered his dragon.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, so it ain't we pointing the finger at her. She's admitting it.
No, I don't. I disagree, but I hear you. I hear you. I don't know if you say she's anything.
I'm genuinely asking because I mean that's what I heard. She admitted it, not that anybody's pointing fingers at her.
No. That interview is something that people can latch on to, but it wouldn't be good detective work to say that's the reason why they got divorced.
I'm not saying. Well, I'm not disputing why they got divorced, other than what we've been talking about. But literally, you said you don't want to point fingers, but she literally said, "I did this."
Yeah, I hear you. But he knew she was a dragon lady before he married her.
I mean, we don't. Now you want to assume on him? Now you want to assume on him? How you know?
She just meant that she made the statement. She made the statement. You were proving my point by saying she said that I'm a dragon lady.
But what I'm saying is, you just said
you're assuming that was during the marriage. You almost thinking it was because of So we don't know when that statement. I do know she made that statement a while ago.
Right, and
Right?
Yeah, but what does it matter if she made the statement before she was married, after she was married, whenever she was married? She realized it's toxic. She realized it's wrong. So what was she trying to do to change it?
Well, yeah,
How many men
I
gonna
agree
continue
with
to
all
put up
that.
with that bull? Look her. How
I
many
agree
men are
with
going to
all
continue
that.
to pull up with that bullshit? Now, I'm not saying it's right that they should have got divorced over some situation they probably could have fixed and worked on, but people have different tolerance levels. People can only tolerate so much. Other people could tolerate more. So her first husband, he tolerated the heifer for 10 plus years. He tolerated the bullshit for 10 years. And he did as long as he could. And it was just too unbearable for him.
And wait,
And
I'm sorry,
he's
Hank.
not gonna accept that shit for that long. He's just not with it.
And,
He
and
barely,
admittedly,
I'm sure it was a situation like this. He barely even wanted to get married. It probably wouldn't, if it wasn't for them kids, he probably wouldn't have got married to it at all. But he felt like, oh, I don't want to bring up more kids in a baby mama situation. So I'll just get married to her and go from there. I'm thinking that's probably how it moved and how it happened.
I mean,
So,
and Hank, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Payne, that's why I asked you the question. Why don't we want to call out what it is? She admitted it in her first marriage.
But that was
She continued to admit it after her first marriage.
but Sean, what I'm trying to say is, it does matter when she said that statement because Jeezy knew she had it matters.
Wait, Payne, this is what I'm saying with you. See how you just said Jeezy knew? You assume that, but you don't want to
She
assume
told
that
me
it was
she
her
had
fault.
the conversation.
But you don't want to assume it's her fault. That don't mean he heard it. You assume that very safely, but when it comes to what she said, no assumption at all. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to point no fingers.
I hear you. I hear you. But this, you're not really right on this thing. You're making a leap that he divorced her just because she's a dragon lady. I'm trying to say that he kind of knew she had the temper before they went and did the nuptials, and that's more of a that statement more goes to that being true than taking the leap that he left her because of that.
Wait, you misconstrued anything. I never said he left the book. I said, why is it that you're saying I don't know? I don't want to point a finger when it comes to the woman, but when the man, you know everything. Oh, it's assumed.
No. Hold on. All I said was I didn't want to point the finger for the divorce on that.
Okay.
I didn't say that she didn't have any faults. I didn't say that. I'm just saying I didn't want to just say declaratively that's why they got divorced. And that's not the irreconcilable difference because they don't want to, she didn't want to move to live with him. You know, it could be a
And that
possibility.
could be true because Jeezy, when he posted a picture and he said, too focused on who I'm becoming to focus on who's not coming with me. And if she didn't want to leave LA, and he's like, look, we've been doing this now for how long? And you still over there. She got a new show out now. I don't know what it's called. Don't ask me. Don't know. But you know, so she could have taken on another role or responsibility where it's like we're already bi-coastal. We bring in oh Lord, what's her name? I don't want to get it wrong. We bring a little lady M back and forth, from Cali to Georgia. We already bi-coastal, so we're not necessarily even sleeping in the same bed every night. What are we doing? So I agree with our pain. It could just be we're not even really married. We're operating underneath of the vows, or not the vows, but the indoctrination of marriage, saying that we were married on paper, but are they really married if they're not spending that time together, not really having any quality relationship time? So
They're co-parents. They're just co-parents. That's all they
right.
are.
I mean,
So that's why wife also asked for joint custody of their daughter too, because it's like, well, she already seeing me the way she's seeing me now. She don't even see us in the house together. So in his mind, he's probably like, what is going to change? Now, I did hear that they were living in the same house, but I don't know how long that lasted. With her going out to Cali and
That just might have been quarantine for COVID.
right.
I'm thinking that maybe like grooming, I'm a weirdo because, quite frankly, I'm seeing it totally different, and I feel like clearly I'm like, yo, the way I see Jeezy is, yo, I'm sitting here trying to give you leadership. You just don't want to take no direction. And I'm not going to sit here and allow you just to do what you've been doing, the boss lady, all that nonsense when we're married, and you just want to do that. So I got to go. Plain and simple. I gotta go because you're not trying to cooperate on allowing me to position myself, the man that I'm becoming, to continue to grow into the places that we as a family need to go. And I'm not going to sit here and argue and fight with you because that's what you're used to getting your way. And plain and simple, I'm not giving it to you. I don't see how it's seen otherwise.
Because I mean,
sound like you agree with me.
I wasn't disputing anything other than the fact that she was sitting over there talking about, oh, we can't point a finger at, I don't want to point a finger at the woman. That's what I was, the only thing I was
I didn't say that, but I hear you. I hear you.
It sounds like she's very stubborn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She admitted it. It don't sound that way. She said that on several occasions. Each clip you played tonight, Precious, she lent to that point of view that I'm stubborn. I want it my way. I'm gonna do it. Me. Each clip, she had something that resembled that.
This one alone.
Yeah, I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. You know, that's why I married white. Man, that's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
Because she lightweight offensive. I am
I'm not. I'm saying, like, I really do think black men are attractive. I do. Like, that's my...
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey.
That's...
You know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
Ain't nobody... How did you say it?
I'm just saying, like, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
Right, you like your main man to be white and your side piece to be
Y'all think Jeezy was a side piece after she left this white man?
I mean, you know what's funny? Just for the record.
Maybe he was on the side. Maybe that's who she was talking about.
Just for the record, and we cannot, I missed this and I didn't want to say that. If that was a black man saying those same statements in reverse, he would be canceled right now. Let's not even. She would be canceled. He would be canceled for all different types of reasons.
I don't think it mattered if it was a man, period, saying that. I don't think it would matter if it was a black, white, or a purple man. That was a man, period, saying some stuff like that. Yeah, he probably would have been canceled.
Okay, you're right. I can't dispute that either. But the point that
he would have said, "I like my." So what scenario? I like white women, but I like black women on the side. Like, what would be the?
I can see a black man saying that shit would be so funny, man. That would be. I just want to say it. I want to say it. I wish I had some clout so I could say some shit like that.
Even if a black man said, "Yo, I like my black women, but I like my white meat on the side." I mean, think about that. Nah, cancel immediately.
Is that unspoken in an NFL? I mean, they kind of do like it like that. They just don't say it like Jeannie mine.
That's my point. A lot of people like things they don't say, but when they say it, they get canceled.
She should have just kept it on a hush hush, is what you're saying. She should have just shut up and just said, "I love my husband."
All I'm saying, she would have got canceled if it was a man, like Hank said, canceled. Because you got so many different people who will be ready to cancel you, white women, black women. So it just be like, yo, they canceled.
Listen,
Yeah.
there's a lot of women who have a dual mating strategy. I mean, a lot of guys don't. People don't talk about that enough. Especially when you talk about paternity issues. There are women who would cleave to a man because of provision, but she would want to have her offspring by a guy that's aesthetically pleasing to her. So this guy,
Find their
she'll
babies
get
out there.
pregnant by the dude on the side and fraud the husband as long as he's paying the bills. And that's where a lot of paternity fraud comes from. Especially, it's not just a black thing. White people probably do it all the time. So that's why they say the numbers is almost 30%. Because if you're white and blonde, they don't look at they might not look at the features as much. So it happens. There's some professors who talk about a dual mating strategy. And this is not paternity fraud, but that's what I think about happened to Kiki Palmer with her light skinned dude, right? She just wanted somebody because of all her insecurities about being a black woman and freckles and all that kind of stuff. Blemishes. She saw this light skinned dude. I want a baby by that guy. She didn't care about his station in life. She just wanted a baby by him. So she's happy about him. That's why it's so easy for her to shit on him, right? And now she's kind of thinking, you know what? Let me not shit on him too much because if I want another kid, I would rather that be from him so I have a kid by the same dad. That's what the Kardashians did when the one who's a mogul. She kept the black dude around so he could pop her the rapper. She don't like him, but she wants her kids to be by the same guy. And so look at the other one, Chloe. Same thing. Kristen Thompson is a philanderer. She complains and cries about him, but she wanted her kids to be by the same man. Same thing with Kim. Crazy ass Kanye, even though he was a bigger station than her, she wanted all her kids to be by the same man. And she
They
was
want
once
all
he
their kids to be
was
by black men. I think they truly fetishize
yeah,
what's the word?
fetishize.
Fetishize black
There you go.
men. I truly think that they do. They made a whole enterprise out
Out of
of it,
that.
a whole
Absolutely.
franchise.
Only one sister didn't feel that way.
In a half mile, keep right to stay on US.
Oh, good times. So what do you guys think about the prenup? So the prenup was signed a day before the wedding. Um, do you think that is gonna be able to hold up? Now we don't know what it says in the prenup. But do you think that it's going to be able to hold up in court since it was signed the day before?
If it doesn't, guys are yes, guys are already starting to really lose faith on the validity of a prenup. If it doesn't, it's just one additional thing that is starting to make men go, why should I get married?
Well, I think that you have to be educated. I think that you have to know what you're doing. I don't see anything wrong with prenups. I don't see anything wrong with the prenup because it to me it dissolves any notion that I'm here or that you're here for monetary value.
But that's what I'm
So
saying though. I see nothing wrong with a prenup either. I actually encourage it. But if they're not going to be held up, then what's the point of even going through that exercise just for a judge to say, yeah, not valid,
Well, I was
why
gonna I was
even
gonna
go through it?
I was gonna say that part of being educated with the prenup is knowing that you can't give it the day before the wedding because she can argue that she signed the prenup under duress. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But now she getting divorced and she probably didn't see this divorce coming. So, she about to be on some Denzel Washington. I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with some. Okay, so it's just that the prenup is no problem, but it could have been signed 4 months prior. It could have been signed 5 or 6 months prior to them getting married. Now she could say, "Oh well, a lot was going on. He forced me to sign it the day before," or it could be, if Jeezy, dotting all his I's, crossing all his T's, look, I gave this to her on such and such a date. She didn't sign it until the day before the wedding. Who knows how it went down? But signatures, notarization, and things like that don't lie. So with it, with that divorce filing being notarized, is notarized to say that she didn't get that or she didn't sign the prenup until the day before.
You know, I got something to say, but I think you want to go first or not, because I got something on this.
No, I'll go ahead, man. I know you love to hoard the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, I did offer, man. There you go, man. Listen.
Courteous.
The date that last infraction is one of the big four. You're gonna have a prenup with a woman or anybody in the marriage. It's got to be like 6 months before the wedding sign. She has to have her own lawyer, and you have to have yours, right? So you can negotiate what's in there. The words in the prenup matters, and they both it got to be signed at least 6 months ahead of time. And so and the prenups do work if you do them properly. But that's what signing that thing before the wedding day is one of the biggest red flags. Now, the only thing is his saving grace, and I'll be real quick, is the fact that she's not a poor lady. It's not like she was working at Rite Aid or something. And something. So she has a lot of means, but it turns everything he has into marital property if that prenup gets thrown out. And so and it depends on how much she wants to fight. Almost everything comes on the table if they throw it out. Almost everything,
Well,
So
I'm not too sure about the whole legalities and prenups and all of that.
oh,
Well, I will say this, that different states matter, who presents it matters, and I don't know any of those details as far as where it was presented, who presented it. I'm assuming that y'all saying that Jeezy presented it. But I don't know the details. If anybody does know it, please let me know.
he presented it.
Oh,
He presented it because he refers to it in his divorce decree several times. So whether he presented it or not, he presented it because she didn't sign it until the last minute. So it was his document for her to sign. So I would imagine he had it all signed up. So what I'm just trying to say is, I hear a lot of people say disparage prenups. They absolutely work. The bottom line is the thing that don't cover is child support. It doesn't cover child support. And that's why, in a backdoor way, the person who's not the breadwinner could go through the back door and a judge could award inordinate amounts of money for child support. That's what happened to Kevin Costner. At one point, they're making him pay $125,000 a month for child support. And then he went back and they cut that in half to $62,000 a month, which is still absurd, right? And plus all this other stuff. So, and he feels that's a victory because his other assets were protected. So it's just cash he has to give up. So he's not giving up land, he's not giving up all that other stuff. But so they can circumvent a prenup by looking at making a woman or the person who's the less breadwinner whole by going through the child support, which is all up to the judge. And that's the bad part. So they work. Now, I tell everybody, you guys, whether you're rich or not, if you're going to get married, you have any, especially the later you get in life, you have any assets. If you're a man and you're going to make more than the woman you're marrying, you got to have a prenup. It's like insurance. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. I think it's idiotic. Every state gives a woman a loaded gun against you, or gives the breadwinner, the person who's not the breadwinner, a loaded gun against the spouse. If you're a man or a woman, that's why we got women starting to get organs. Halle Berry, all these chicks who got money, guys are taking them to the cleaners. And I think the more men who take these women to the cleaners, the better it is for all of us. So we get some laws changed. Because women ain't going to change the laws until they start bleeding. And the more that bleed, then we could kill it. If it bleeds, we could kill it. That's my famous Arnold Schwarzenegger thing, So we can't change the laws because women vote. And they vote their best interest no matter what. So there you go. They got to bleed. They got to hurt. They got to hurt with the pocketbook.
Oh, Pan, you've been watching too many Predator movies, man. You need to
Oh
stop
man,
that.
I can't stop watching it. I know every word of that damn movie, man. Shoot.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's my life. Whatever.
I see. Yeah, it's look. He has a prenup, but like you said. I don't know. Is it one of those things? Like you said, is it going to be considered under duress? And with that being said, I mean, she I don't know, her value baby more than him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. She might just want to say, "Hey, you just take what you got. I just take what I got and move on." Because she may end up be losing on the back end. You know what I'm saying? I know he was trying to push for 50-50 custody, but she might want to agree with everything. As far as what I've seen in the divorce decree or what he's proposing to her, she might want to agree with her. Like I said, she makes more money. Her status is more bigger than his. You know what I'm saying? Most people think, oh well, he's a rapper. Well, that don't mean anything. He's a rapper, yeah, but shit, she crosses the thresholds amongst the racial barriers on the show she's on. She's on one of the biggest daytime shows on TV. So yeah, Jeezy don't have that type status. He may be known in the streets, and some white boys may know him, or white girls here and there, but you talk about she's on a bigger stage, and she has a bigger platform compared to what he has.
A platform don't matter, revenue does.
You said what?
A platform doesn't matter, revenue does. And he might have done things with his revenue more so than she did.
She's getting more revenue than him. That's
that's a job. Let me correct you.
No. She did something before she did that show. That's what I'm saying.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Jeezy owned a lot of his stuff. She worked for people. So although she's more renowned as far as popularity and all that, the dividends that he could have made while he was out there could be equivalent or more than what she actually made.
Do you realize he ain't put an album out in damn near 10 years, right?
Okay. You realize that he could have went on tour when his album was out and got 50,000 a day.
Yeah, he's
100,000 a day.
He's not pulling like that no more.
Yeah, I'm saying when his album was out. I'm not saying now.
Adversity is for sale now. Adversity is for sale. His book, which now I'm almost interested in reading because, like Hank said, it's been a while, Jeezy. So where you been? Where you been, big bro? Where you been?
And Hank, just I don't want to put this out there, but I'm going to. Prior to him being a rapper, he was doing some things that could have also been making him money.
Sean, God damn, Sean. So you think he's a billionaire of selling drugs?
No, I don't think he is. No, I think she is. But I'm saying, as far as money that he's made, if he invested it properly and hit it properly, he could have more money than her. Simple.
They say he's worth 15 million and she's worth 4. That's what they say. If you look it up, they say his net worth is 15 and hers is 4. Now, those numbers are inaccurate because we don't know how. But if you're taking relatively speaking, he's worth a little bit more money than she is.
And so this man has
I just want to shout out Just Rules. Thank you so much for the Cash App. Have a great evening, love.
And this man has 3 kids. And so he has to pay support. You don't think these baby mamas are taking his ass to the bank still currently as he speaks? She doesn't have that problem. Yeah, her value, I think, is probably
now, Hank, I can't argue the details. I just said who had more money. I don't know what they're doing with their money or how it's being. You're right. That's a fair assessment. But the point is, I'm just saying from the industry standpoint, don't dismiss the fact of how much money a rapper can make, especially in his heyday, because he was in a day where people were really making money. Rappers was really making money. Like literally, you could get 100 G's a night, and just think about it, 10 nights, you got $1 million. And that's just
Jeezy does have a lot of real estate. Someone said that here. Jeezy, he does have a lot of real estate.
I know he has a lot of real estate in Atlanta for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as what Sean talked about, his rap career, it didn't make him the millions like you think he did. His drug game didn't make him the millions like he did.
I'm not saying it does. I
There's
don't.
a reason why he had to pivot and he had to do other things. There's a reason why.
I hear you, but hey, you out there, right? You in Atlanta, right? You down south in Atlanta, right?
No, I'm in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Well, just answer me this: Have you ever been to Atlanta during BMF days? That will answer all your questions right there. The money that they had, bro. I was there. The money that they had wasn't something that.
I got you, man. I guess I can't defend the drug dealers' money, man. I mean, shout out to the dealers. Get paper. God damn.
I don't know what's worse, the drug dealer or the Eagles fans.
Oh, stop. You better get kicked off. Where the hell my mouth at? You better get kicked off of this tonight.
Oh man. Nah, but the point, but Hank, you made a very valid point as far as the money that he has to spend to maintain his family prior to him getting married to her. And that is definitely something that I think is calculated. But the reason why I push back so much is because burying money was actually a very significant talent that people in that age, in that era, in that specific movement had to learn how to do.
Nadia says Jeezy became a corporate businessman and he deal with power people, not celebrities. He likely has more money. The people just don't know it. He's never been a flasher. Well, I mean, overall, we're gonna head to final thoughts. Overall, this situation and then now Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumpert are separated. It's like, what's going on? Like, what is going on? And I think I called this division 101 because it's just amazing how social media, I mean, they tell you when people, marry and things like that. But when people divorce and when they get separated, it comes in the droves. It comes in everything you scroll up on is so and so got divorced. So more people got divorced. I just don't know who those people are, so I'm not going to talk about it. But it's like it just comes in droves, and that is part of dividing people. When you can send it's part of the programming. When you can send a message that this person's getting divorced, this person's getting divorced, this person getting divorced, and it may be another wave where then you hear about people, for everything there's a season and there's a time, right? So it just seems like when the seasons of divorce and separation come, they come in droves, and then you hear about people then getting together. But this definitely doesn't do anything for the 2023 man and woman who are, seeking love. They're seeking to be married. They're seeking to be with someone for the rest of their lives. And they just continue to see in the media about these separations and divorces. And that's why it's so important for people not to take their advice and have their hopes and dreams embedded in a celebrity or someone that you see on social media, because a lot of times these people who are in the limelight, who are public figures, they do have people in their business. And I think a lot of people will say, oh, I'm not getting married because so and so and they got divorced. It's like, do you have Jeezy's money? Do you have Jeezy status? It's like, you allow their fear tactics. And fear is one thing that also divides people. And so I think that when we see stories like this, or when we hear about divorces and things like that, it's just another scare tactic or something to implant fear, because they were married for 2 years. They had a child, which means they became a family. And I'll say it all the time. The devil hates family. He hates family, and he already know you going in there jacked up. He already know you jacked up. He already know you already feel worthless. He already know that you feel less than. He already know that you second guessing yourself. Now you join in with somebody else where you're supposed to have more power, more wealth, more, everything is going to multiply when you join with someone. And now it's breaking down and it's subtraction and dividing. To me, that's what the devil wants. And so when we see these stories and when we see these things come out, it's just giving him more of what he wants when people also act in fear of what's going on with other people because they couldn't get themselves together emotionally, psychologically, physically, whatever the case may be. It just instills fear, not only in those who are old enough adults to be able to think for ourselves, but into the younger generation too. Because if the younger generation continue to see, oh, so and so broke up. I mean, I don't know if they old enough to know who Jeezy is. I don't think so.
But Precious, you make a good point, and I want to say something to that point. I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. I'm scared. Definitely scared.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I am. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I think that, if you allow these things to put fear in your heart, they will. And that fear, and it's Dr. Darius Daniels said something, and he said that, something that can be a lie can function as the truth in your life. So you're saying, I'm fearful of marriage and this is, I'm not saying that, however you feel about it, Sean, is however you feel about it. I'm just using an example, but whoever it is, I'm scared of marriage. It's never going to work for me. I'm never going to get married again. I'm never going to have a wife. Well, those things are going to act as true in your life unless you change the mindset of whatever it is, unless you drive out that fear with something else. But a lot of people allow fear to be their final destination. You allow fear to be the place where you set up camp. And if you're going to do that, then you might as well just give up. So it's like people don't want to have that endurance, and that's what that is too. For people who aren't married that haven't gotten to the place where they have walked down the aisle or gone to the courthouse or however you want to perform your ceremony. It's part of having endurance and knowing that, yeah, it hasn't happened for you yet. But at the same time, if you want it to happen, it will, as long as you're whole, as long as you're, communing with your creator. I think that a lot of people just allow fear, freaking YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you allow all that when in reality, this stuff wasn't even around when we was little. So now we allow this to come in and make us fearful of something that is new age, something that wasn't even in existence after 10, 15 years ago. It's crazy to me. And I'll never allow it to make me fearful of marriage. I'll never allow it to make me fearful of being in a relationship with someone. I'll never allow it to make me fearful of those things. And I think that people take their last situations or whatever they were in, and it makes them fearful. It makes them just blindly afraid to trust anyone. And so I think the issue is you're looking so much so to trust somebody else that and you don't trust yourself. That's where the fear comes in. It's like you don't trust yourself and you're fearful for somebody to join in and see you completely naked. And I don't mean in the physical.
Well, Precious, I don't know if you see my posture changing, but you just changed my life. Dun, 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 dun. I'm no longer afraid.
I can't. I really can't. All I'm saying is don't allow it to
No, I'm joking about
make
being
you
afraid.
fearful. Pain really paralyzes people. And I think that, you continue to hear these messages of failures, that's going to add to your fear. It's going to add to your, wanting to do the right thing or wanting to be in a place of protection or whatever the case may be. But before you get there, we really do have to check into ourselves. We really have to ask ourselves the honest questions. What exactly do I have to work on? Do I have a short fuse? Am I impatient? Do I not know how to communicate? Am I, do I have anxiety when it's time to talk about difficult things? Do I need to change the way that I communicate my feelings? Because I don't know, he don't like me when I'm up here. So, I'm gonna have to take it down here. But what are the things that I can practice? A lot of people don't put these things into practice either. Being in a relationship is a skill. And it's not, and there's really no, manual for it. And I mean, I say the Bible is the manual to the way of living. But if you're not following that, then you're going in blindly. It's the blind leading the blind. And so if you're not going to practice little things, if you're not going little things about yourself, and then come to a point where it's just like, I've actually gotten that under control and I've been tested. Okay. It's easy to say, oh, I did the work and this and that, but it's only when you've been tested, when you actually see if your work is working, if you're not putting in enough work, so all these things that we see is division one-on-one. And I think that's social media in general. I think it is literally built to divide us, and it has done a great job at it. It has done a great job at it. And I think that we need to really, get out the matrix, turn the little trinkets off that they got programming your head. Turn it off, log off, for maybe for a month or two. Just log off, because that can really, I saw a girl on TikTok saying how she was so sad and she had went through this breakup and she was on social media and everything that she saw, it was just depressing and it had her in a sad state. And I said, that is no way to live. That is no way to have something that is not real controlling your real emotions. At this point in time, you know that you have a problem and you need to get it checked out. And you need to check out of social media. That's the first place you need to check out. So, it's real for people to get caught up in the reels of, you got to notice the verbiage of social media too. Selfie. It's like, the selfie is the post. And it's like, no, you post to change yourself. Okay. And if you can't do that, you shouldn't even think about posting a selfie, because we don't want to see the fake you. We don't want to, we don't want to see it. It's a waste of time. Waste of scroll. So I think these things are made to divide us. And I can't change the world, but those who are watching, don't let pain paralyze you. Don't let these, stories about marriage make you fearful. Even people who look at the facts, even facts can make you fearful when it comes to relationships. Oh, well, 50% of the women do it. You only need one. You don't need 50% of the women. You only need one. You only need one.
Hey, Precious, I'm in different perspective. It's my opinion, and I agree with you about the whole social media thing. But I'm thankful for all of this, because a different perspective for me is that it's allowed me to get more information in about how crazy people are and be able to work with a lot more information than what I had prior. I love it, and I'm thankful for it.
Somebody got mute. Somebody got mute the mic.
Alrighty, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was basically just saying I'm thankful for it. I like having all of this information at my fingertips, seeing how crazy everybody else is and what's going on in the world. But I think that people are making better informed decisions about what they, want to do, and to be scared is another way of, to me, kind of making an informed decision about, hey, do I want to roll the dice and take the probability that mine can be one that works out long term and have one that goes 30 plus years as Mr. Payne down there? Or do I want to, aim on the side of, you know what? I see the probabilities. I understand those numbers. I'm good.
It's the making out with the dog for me. I don't know what to think of it. So I completely understand what you're saying, King. I think it's good for the people who can differentiate real from the fake, who can actually come to sensible conclusions, and can see what's in front of them and say, let me weigh my options rather than the people who just take things and run with them and they go to an extreme with their ideologies, they go to an extreme with the way that they talk about others online. They just go to an extreme with it because of only what they see online, and they're failing to live their real lives and live them to the fullest because they're stuck in a reel online. You know what I
Well,
mean?
well,
So
you know what's
I definitely
interesting, Precious, to what you're saying? While that is true, it's unfortunate that it's becoming more and more commonplace to where those actions are starting to bleed into actually a lot of people's real lives.
Mhm.
And that's an unfortunate reality that we're witnessing happening pretty significantly. You have a lot of the characteristics that we speak about starting to show face and starting to develop if it never was there.
Mhm.
And that's what we are now starting to face more abundantly than we did in the past. So while I agree with the whole fear thing, and I was just joking about the fear. In all seriousness, it is alarming and concerning that it's becoming more of a reality and it's becoming more uh, popular or more, I guess, normal. It's being normalized, all of these behaviors and all of these behaviors that separate us, all of these behaviors that are toxic, and all of those other keywords that are being used on the internet is actually becoming more and more realistic in our common day lives and our everyday lives.
Mm, I would definitely agree with that. Now we're gonna go with final thoughts. So we'll start with Hank and we'll go over and then we'll go up to Sean, then we'll end with King.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I hope this situation doesn't cause men to operate out in fear. I just hope that's not the case. Um, as far as a prenup, my personally, I'm not going to do a prenup because I feel like if I do, I'm going in with a plan B type mindset. That's just me. Um, yeah, I just can't see myself doing that because I don't want to. I'm not trying to go in there with the mindset of I'm already planning to fail. It's just only a matter of time. I don't want to go in with that type mindset that with that. I don't want that to be my reality. When I go in, I'm going all in and just going to do what I need to do as a man, trying to make my family work. So
Arpain, can you hear me? Yeah, Arpain. Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I mean, I was trying to find my cursor so I can get off of mute. Listen, I think that you really can't make an informed decision based on fear, and fear is false evidence appearing real. But if it's real to you, I guess you feel it's real in general. Yeah, there's been a war in marriage for years now, and it impacts both men and women a little bit differently, right? And so it's been very effective. Matter of fact, it's been too effective, and it's almost to the detriment of the whole United States, right? Because we don't have any intact families, so we're all over the place. And I don't know until some laws change. I don't see it correcting itself. There's got to be pressure put on people to start saying, you know what? If we're going to survive this thing, we got to do it together. You sit down here and kind of figure men and women are meant to be together, right? Male and females of every species are meant to be together. Um, whether you have more than one and all that, that's a matter of discussion. But we cleave to each other over all kinds of oppression Nobody can make a law to keep a man and a woman from stroking each other. I don't give a shit how scared how draconian the law is. You put men and women together, somebody's getting laid, you know. So that's a God ordained thing. You can't legislate that away. And so there's a reason for that. There's a reason why we have 8 billion people on the planet Earth. So I'm just saying what's proven throughout all of that is intact families create communities and things of that nature. And the fact that, people can't, they've reduced marriage to a situationship. That's why it's so easy for people to walk away from that marriage. So, like what Hicks says that, I don't need a prenup because I think I'm putting negativity into my marriage. I can see where that's coming from. But I'd say talk to the lead attorney if you just have a conversation with him. But anyhow, but still, that's a personal thing, and it has to be everybody has to have their own personal thing. Now, if I had assets and I wasn't married, there's just no way I would get married without prenup. I don't care about, my wife was to walk away, that's cool. I'll find another woman. Hugh Jackman is getting a divorce too. He's been married for 30 years. The Wolverine. So he's getting out of his marriage. So that's another one. Huh?
I said I'm not too familiar with. He's an actor.
Yeah, he played the Wolverine, the X-Men. Yeah, the white dude.
Never seen any of them. Yeah, so I didn't even know his name to call him. But that was another one that I saw.
Hugh Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's pretty big in this. So I'm just trying to say, I just think that the social engineering against marriage has been very, very, very effective. And people have a right to be afraid. And people are, men are afraid because of the assets we get to lose. Women are afraid because they don't think there's anything in it for them other than being a man's slave. And so it's not all women, of course, and not all men, because we're still having some marriages. But it's a shame. And I don't know how we're going to get out of it. But America's in jeopardy because of that. And I can go just on and on and on and on. But our country's in big jeopardy because of it. It really is. And it's just going to get worse, I think, before it gets better. Let me leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we in the dock? King, get your friend.
Grooming up.
Oh, I'm up. My bad. Sorry, I was walking out. And for information, I was not making out with my dog. He's a attention hog. I agree with both of them. I don't need a piece of paper telling me, this and that. A contract, a plan B, this and like. Listen, if I don't trust you to be in, a relationship or a marriage with me to the point I need a contract on a piece of paper, you're not worth my time. I'll just move on to somebody else because I don't trust you. If I don't trust you with my financials, meaning this is not going to work out. End of story. Your anger too. Like if your anger is not controllable, you definitely need to seek some help or figure out how to control your anger. Whatever it is, from martial arts to football or whatever you need to take. It just figure a way to control your temper is a big thing in any relationship. And I think Pressure will agree with me on this. No woman will deal with you, putting your fist through a wall, excuse me.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, just like men won't take a unruly woman, they're not going to do well with a man who can't control his anger and putting holes in the walls every week. So I agree with that. Sean?
Man, grooving. He's punching holes in the walls. You're making out with what's going on?
Listen, Peacock.
Right, he having a deep conversation with the dog.
He hasn't seen me all day. Leave me alone, Alex.
Who have your time with spots? Like, now, what's his name? What's the dog name?
Alexander.
Alexander? That's a long dog name.
Hey, listen, I am Greek. I named him after Alexander
King
the Great.
Alexander.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Go ahead, Sean.
All right. Last thoughts. Hank made a significant point. Payne made a significant point. The point that I'm referring to with Hank is where he said that prenup. I agree with that. It does, put you in a position. Payne followed with the same point, although he said that if he had it all to do it all over again, he would probably do it. Which goes to the initial point of fear. I'm afraid. No. We have a 30 plus year marriage saying, get a prenup. These hoes ain't no good out here. Nah, seriously, I do feel there is some credence to that, but unfortunately, the reality is that what I was just saying a second ago, the social media, I'll use the word, I dare use the word pandemic, has really taken its course in our society. And so the mentality that's coming out of that is something that's dangerous. It's something that's scary. It's something that's inconsistent. It's something that's very selfish. It's something that has lends nothing that is familiar or often that is holy in relationships. And it's now becoming rare to have our pain. It's becoming rare to have a significant relationship that has success that you can apply as an example of what we need or what we should be going towards. And as that increasingly grows to where we don't have those examples, that fear that I mess around with and say in jest starts becoming more of a reality. And it's an unfortunate reality. Yes, I would love to get married. Yes, I would love, as Hank said, to do it without a prenup. Yes, I would love to do it as in Payne, successful marriage for 30 years. If I'm allowed to, 30 plus years, if I'm allowed to live 30 plus more years in my life. But the unfortunate reality is that society is, especially American society, is lending to where that's becoming less and less consistent and less trustworthy. Character is becoming something of the past. And I'm glad and I recognize and I embrace good character. And that's why I might mess around with all of you, but I really commend and enjoy the conversations because each of you have displayed an amount of character on these platforms for the months and the year and so that I have seen or have been able to grace and share the panels with you. But and that's something that's rare. We might mess around, joke around all the time, but the characters that a lot of us are displaying and a lot of us are speaking from, we're preaching to the choir with one another. But if we go into our numbers reflect that sometimes. Because if we go into the world where the numbers are plentiful and bountiful, it's not us. It's not the characteristics that I'm seeing here. It's not the reflection of conversations that we're having here. And that's a really unfortunate reality that, again, starts to scare me when I really think about it seriously. With that, final thought, salute. Thank you for having us and a great sharing the stage with all of you again. Look forward to it next week.
Thanks, Sean. All righty, King, close us out in prayer. It's like, no, let me stop.
I think that there's a lot of different things that you can see that I guess, I don't know, people choose to ignore, right? So like we established at the beginning for people that didn't catch it from the beginning, Precious and I and everybody here agrees that what you see on social media is not real life. It's not. We talk about these people because they are people that have shared their lives very publicly. Okay. And then when the split happens, you kind of naturally wonder why. Now, granted, how they live is different than quote unquote the average person. I am the average person, right? I don't make the money that they make. I don't have the same status that neither one of them do have. but you kind of naturally wonder like what caused it, because if you look at Jeezy's Instagram, which I'm looking at right now, 30 weeks ago he puts up the lines, "Happy Valentine's Day to the love of my life and the life of my love. Everything's better with you, Mrs. Jenkins." And she replies, "And to think we're just getting started too." Think about that. That was just over half a year ago. All right, 30 weeks ago. So naturally people wonder what happened, why isn't it not working out? My observation for what I can see between these two is I think she's insufferable, and the next person is going to find out the same thing that Jeezy knows, and maybe the person after that and her works out. We'll see, but I'm telling you, come back and play this back, and maybe some man out there will finally, or I ain't gonna say finally, publicly admit the same thing that I just said. I think she's insufferable. Those are my final thoughts.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just gonna close with what I said earlier about Jeannie acknowledging how this how this anger showed up in generations in her family. And I challenge everyone to figure out what has shown up generationally in your family, whether it be, oh, we don't talk about that, or everything that, happens in this house stays in this house. Now, that's a good theory. But at the end of the day, did it teach you how not to be honest with yourself? Because you couldn't tell anyone about it, because you couldn't talk about it. So, with her being in her 40s and battling herself, because at the end of the day, this is a war that she's having with herself. I mean, Jeezy was there and he engaged in the fight with her, but it's a war that she's having with herself. Because to be divorced twice, I can, and her child is under the age of 2, right? Is her daughter is at least 1, but I don't think she's 2. Is she 2? So she's 2. Okay, so you have a 2-year-old, and now you're about to go through, a divorce. So take a page out of Jeannie Mai's book, and this is going to the women, but to the men as well. Challenge yourself and see, what has been in my family generationally that I inherited and don't even realize that I play out those traits, or I don't realize that it is affecting other people. And maybe I should listen to that person when they say, "Hey, you may want to, deal with this," or you may, you're really snappy. Or I had a friend in college, we were in the same wing, and I saw she was really aggressive with people, and it was weird to me. And I said, one day somebody gonna knock you out. I told her just like that. So one day somebody is gonna come to you and knock you out because you have no discretion of what you say out of your mouth. And she was like, "Oh, ain't nobody ever told me." Well, I'm telling you. Now, whether you change it or not, that's on you, but I'm letting you know, as somebody that's cool with you, that you come off very rough. Now, I don't take offense to a lot of things. So I didn't take offense to how she was, because I can see people and how they are, and how they may not have no idea that they are this way, or no one brings it to their attention. And I'm going to bring it to you with love, but at the same time, we have to be able to step back and say, what are the things that we do? What are the things that I do that I need to challenge myself on before I get to a stage where I am actually in love with somebody? I love this person. Yeah, I have not healed what has been sticking me in my side. Like in the Bible, it describes it as a thorn in your side. And that's exactly what that is. That history, that generational trauma, that generational anger and attitude problem. That's a thorn. That was a thorn in her grandfather's side. It was a thorn in her grandmother's side. It's definitely a thorn in her mom's side. And now it's a thorn in her side. And so we have to be able to recognize those things and chip away at it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You're not going to change overnight. But as long as you're evolving and growing into better people, and a better version of yourself. And stop looking for validation. Stop looking at somebody else and saying, "Ooh, what they got on their plate look good." Because guess what? What they got on their plate might be poison in them. Okay. So we're gonna have to focus on ourselves and make sure that we are tending to our own grass and leave everybody else's grass alone and stop stepping on their grass. But this has been a great, great live. Thank you guys for always showing up and showing out. I really do appreciate you every single time you come on the panel. Thank you to everyone who has been in the chat. If y'all don't know, I'm a radio host now. Y'all. I'm a radio host now. Going over to AMP. I'm trying out AMP. I actually like the platform. I love to listen to music. Hank, maybe you should try it. I encourage anybody who have these social media platforms to try it because it is very easy. You make a playlist. You like to talk about sports. I think that would be great for you. To get on AMP and talk about sports and
It
get a
pays.
following and get paid. Yeah. So definitely come on, head on over to AMP. And you guys check me out on Sundays. I do 2 shows. I do a show in the AM at 9 AM, and then I do a show at 9 PM. And my 2 shows I've had already, I've enjoyed them immensely. I have another show coming up Sunday at 9 AM. We're gonna be talking about class and the way that women dress. I do have a model and a fashion expert coming on. I'm trying to get a male. This is a guy who does custom, and I came across him on Instagram, and I really liked his style. And I'm like, do you do customs for women too? But I'm trying to get him to come on the show because he's a black man doing his thing, and his fashion is just outworldly. I really do like his fashion. So we're gonna be doing that on Sunday morning, and then Sunday evening we're gonna have Quran. He was supposed to be on Sunday evening last week, but we had to reschedule it for Sunday evening this week coming up. So guys, definitely follow the page. I had it pinned to the top of the chat, but definitely follow the page so you guys are aware of when I go live. But it's Sundays. It's Sundays. If you don't catch me 9 AM, you can catch me at 9 PM. But it's at The Real Precious on AMP Radio. King is also over there. Him and God Happened to Me do their shows over there as well. He really encouraged me. I had downloaded the app, but he like, come on, you need to come on over here. So now I'm over there and I enjoy it. I may add a day because it's so low maintenance. It's just not like YouTube. I mean, you can hop on this thing anywhere you're at and be doing your thing. So I really do enjoy it. So guys, just follow me over on AMP. Follow King as well. He's over there. But you guys on the panel, you might want to try it out. Just have a show. Come on my show.
Can you send me that information on it?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Okay.
Quincy is asking you a question, King. So I'm hoping that you got that and you know what he's talking about. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about, but he says, what day?
Yeah, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's but early. It's 6:45
It is.
AM till about 7:30. But even if you don't catch it live, you can catch the replay. And I'm looking at adding a weekend show. I actually have one coming up that I think is so fire. I don't want to put it out to the public because I don't want nobody else to steal this idea. But first, I'm gonna let you know in the
Okay.
chat
All right.
what it is.
Quincy said, you all playing music or no? So my show is
Yep.
called Love and Listen. And so, yes, I actually ask for requests because it's a collective effort over on my channel.
Mhm.
Okay. We're going to listen to what we all like to listen to. And it's cool. It's cool. Ken, what were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna tell Quincy, yeah, man, that's a dope platform. I play music on mine. My show's actually structured around playing music to wake you up and get amped for your day. I call it "Wake Up and Get Amped with King." So I play
He had
nothing
that,
but music.
drill music earlier. He had that drill music. He had that drill music going on earlier.
Our Pain could dig that drill music. That's what our Pain's into.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, it has been another good show. Y'all know what I say as I close out. Be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Enjoy your Tuesdays. Have a great evening.